Morning, everybody. I'm Vince Benevenia, your president of the Michigan Dental Association, and this is our virtual trustee forum on June 9th, 2022. So welcome. I would just like to introduce our panelists tonight. I will be talking about the kind of running the generative discussion on millennials and Gen Z. And Dr. Jerry Cohen is here tonight with us. He's a trustee. And Dr. Vince Lizio is with us. He's also a trustee. Dr. Sherry Newman, trustee. We have Karen Burgess with us tonight. She's our executive director. And Michelle Cruz is behind that MDA symbol there on your screen. So welcome tonight. Before we get started, I just want to say that if you have any questions, we'd like to encourage questions and interaction here, participation from everybody attending tonight. So please put your questions in the Q&A, which is found down below, and we will get to your questions as they come up. So I'd actually like to just get right into it. The first item on our agenda tonight is the generative discussion of millennials and Gen Z. So I'm just going to start out, and I'm going to share my screen here. So give me a quick second on that. Good. Okay. So what are 5 characteristics of millennials in the workplace? So what are millennials? Millennials are the definition is they were born between 1981 and 1996. So they're anywhere from 26 to 41 years old right now. They are technologically savvy and well connected, through their apps and social media. Millennials are very transparent. They value transparency. Millennials value straightforward management and recognition. They desire diverse work and collaboration. They like to get into groups and collaborate. Millennials are attracted to positions that offer a work-life balance. That's very important, the work-life balance, flexibility, and career advancement. A lot of people working from home now, and family is a big priority. And so those are 5 characteristics of millennials. So Gen Z, what are the characteristics of Gen Z? So Gen Z, diversity is their norm. They were kind of born into this era where we're talking about diversity and inclusion. So it's just been they've known nothing else than this. So diversity is their norm. They're digital natives. Again, they were born into the digital revolution. Everything digital. They're pragmatic and financially minded. They've seen their parents kind of go through some hard times growing up financially with recession and economy and things like that. And so they're very financially minded. And many factors contribute to their mental health challenges. So what do I mean by that? So they're very concerned, and they tend to internalize their feelings with like world matters, the turmoil of politics and stress and things like that. So their mental health challenges are in the front. They're shrewd consumers. They do a lot of research. And how do they do the research? Well, of course, on social media. So they like to pay for things that they value, and they're going to do their research and talk to their friends on social media. So that's very important for them. And they're politically progressive, even those on the right. So those are some characteristics of Gen Z. I just wanted to kind of touch on that. And, oh yeah, by the way, Gen Z is defined as people born after 1995. So that's that. I am going to now go to some slides that Karen Burgess gave me, which are really cool. And let's see, I'm going to go. So these are slides from the ADA. They did some research on membership and Gen Z and millennials. And this first slide here that I'm showing now is like, well, why are we here tonight? Well, there is a sense of urgency with membership. And here's the problem. The problem is that if you look at this graph here, the boomers the boomers are aging out. I mean, they're retiring, and they're not going to be members for very much longer. And the millennials, if you look at the this yellow curve down here, it's heading the wrong way too. So membership is ADA membership is declining, and they're very concerned that, if you look at a market share, if it dips below 50%, that's a statistically bad thing to happen, and we will lose our relevance, lose our power, our clout, as an organization. So that's a problem. So I'm going to go to a couple more slides here. We're going to go to slide 33. So millennials, Gen Z, right? What do they? I'm going to talk about two basic things out of these slides that I gleaned. There's value and values. So first, we're going to talk about value. So what does this generation value? So when they were surveyed, the top three things that they would like are more free and affordable CE, better offerings, lower dues, and they would like us to, their organizations, the ADA, MDA, the tripartite, to influence insurance companies. So those are three things that they really value. And then as far as support, how do they want to be supported? They want to be supported on the business side of dentistry, help with financial challenges, help with finding the right job, clinical proficiency, work-life balance again, starting their own practice, dental team dynamics, and licensure. So those are their priorities that they're asking for help with. And I'm going to go to slide 36. And so here's the ADA's plan for addressing those things. So if you look at up here, this arrow is what they've told us they want, as far as their career, financial well-being. And then down here, this arrow points to what's planned in 2022. So what the ADA has queued up here is they would like, let me get rid of my little thing here. In quarter one, they're going to do some things: member value, innovation, joint action team, kickoff meeting, prioritize membership and preparedness concepts. Quarter two, they're going to audit things, and they're going to look at their services and offerings that they have, see how they're being utilized. Quarter three, develop a minimally variable products in support of the 3-pillar strategies. And quarter four, they're going to have some things. It looks like at SmileCon, so at the meeting in Houston coming up in the fall. So that's what the ADA plan is to address the value part of it. So then let's talk about values. We're going to go to slide 40 here. Let's see if I can get that going here. So values, the ADA's core values. What are the core values? So millennials and Gen Z, they really like the organizations that they belong to and the things that they're associated with to adhere to their core values. They want their core. They like to belong to things that align with their core values, and they like those organizations to actually uphold those core values. So the big three are commitment to the improvement of oral health, diversity, and inclusion, and those are those ovals on the right there. So I'm going to go to slide 43, and this is the ADA's plan on addressing the values. So this is their value development strategy and implementation. What in the left arrows here, what they told us they want. So oral health advancement, community and representation, change by inclusion and belonging. So, and then what's planned by the ADA in 2022, quarter one, diversity and inclusion joint action team, continue D&I dental society roadshow, continue amplifying voices. Quarter two, activate health equity action plan, release D&I lens tool, launch DE&I champions network and ADA board trustee sponsorship. Quarter three, develop minimal value products, counsel on communication support, continuing DSO large group practice roadshow. Quarter 4, DEI and oral health events, activities featured on SmileCon. So again, Quarter 4 is all about the Houston meeting at the ADA SmileCon. DEI again is heavy in that, and the House of Delegates Future of Oral Health in America strategic discussion. So basically, the ADA is freaking out a little bit about membership, and they're realizing that if they don't do something, that's we're headed in the wrong direction for membership. So I just kind of opened it up to the definitions of millennials and what they value and what their values are, and I just kind of want to open it up now to everybody else and for a generative discussion as to what can we do, what can the MDA do, what can our components do, because that's what we're in charge of. We don't have I don't have much control over the ADA, obviously, but the MDA is our purview. So I would just like to open up the discussion, and if Karen, if you have anything to add to what I have just gone over, feel free to chime in. I'm going to stop my sharing now, or any of the other panelists.
Yeah, this is it was a very interesting presentation that the ADA did just yesterday. So this is hot off the press. And the one thing that I would add, Vince, is that our joint board training that we're having on Friday before the board meeting, we have Dr. David Rice from Ignite DDS is going to talk about millennials and Generation Z in dentistry. And he has done this presentation that other state dental societies comes very highly recommended. So we have a 2-hour time frame to hear from Dr. Rice about what his observations are. Then we have this background information, and it's all leading up to our generative discussion at the board meeting, with an eye towards perhaps creating a list of steps that the MDA should consider, either doing as a state society, doing in collaboration with their components, or the ADA has even asked specifically for state societies to tell them how the ADA can help them do what needs to be done. Because obviously the ADA membership is driven by what happens in every state, right? We sit here at 75, 76% market share, even for new dentists, which is down a bit from the 80% or so that we had just a few years ago. But there are states that have 50% new dentist market share, 53% new dentist market share. And it's, and even though we're well above that, we're not trending up or flat, we are also trending down. So how can we address this? What practical ideas do we have, steps to be taken, and how can we work within the tripartite to implement the things that have the most promise for success and demonstrating to the younger generations, yes, we are their club. We share their values. And yes, we have what they need to be successful. And for every dollar they spend in dues, they will get more than $1 back in benefit. So that's my addition to your 2 cents. Thanks, Vince, for the opportunity to weigh in.
Good. Thank you, Karen. So let's see. Do we have anybody in the Q&A right now? Let's look here. I don't see any. Should I just start calling on people and embarrassing people to talk about them? Oh, here we go. Chris Gorecki.
Got one.
All right, Chris, way to start it off, man. Chris Gorecki wrote, we all need to make a conscious effort to promote the inclusion of our younger members, especially at the component level. When we contact some of the components, they are having difficulty attracting the younger member. It's a tough needle to thread. So yes, I would agree with that. Chris, do you have any suggestions on how to improve that?
Chris might be muted,
Yeah,
Vince, because we're in a webinar format. I
right.
don't know that
So
he
only
can
the
speak.
panelists can talk. Is that right?
Yeah, and we don't have the chat feature enabled, so this
Right.
is really not conducive
Yeah.
to a
Okay.
discussion.
All right. Chris says he can't talk. So thanks for your comment earlier, though, Chris. I appreciate it. So from the panelists, what do you think, Jerry? Very
Yeah,
good.
I posed this question in a component meeting, and the answer from some of the younger folks was that they would really enjoy prominent speakers on topics that were relevant to them, and they are all in the first phase in the climbing, growing phase of their practices. So topics that are relevant. I said, so what kind of topics? And obviously, it's all about implants, about cosmetics, about the latest trends, and they really want named speakers, prominent speakers, people that they've heard of, and that would add value to their memberships, and that would they believed would draw more of their colleagues. So just a couple ideas, couple thoughts.
Okay, so I get we're looking at too is we want to talk about relevancy. How do we keep the MDA relevant to these newer generations, Gen Z and Millennials? How do we make membership attractive to them? How do we pry that money out of their pocket to continue to be members after their free membership years go away?
Yeah, Vince, if I could say one quick thing, because I watched the webinar, I heard what they had to say. I didn't just look at the slides. And one of the things that they talked about was the decline in practice ownership and the fact that so many of our membership benefits are really aligned and created for the benefit of the solo practitioner or the practice owner. And so you'll notice in one of their to-do lists, when they talk about diversity and inclusion, they are specifically talking about employed dentists and LGP DSO aligned dentists. And so not that we are going to have fewer benefits for the practice owner, but we need to put on our thinking cap and realize that if you are an employee dentist, it's more about dealing with patients, clinical, working within the group setting. You know, there's a different spin on some of the practice management. It's not all about entrepreneurialism and being the CEO of your own little world. So, I think that's going to be a challenge, and we'll have to put on our thinking caps specifically for that, because trends are that there will be fewer and fewer young dentists choosing to start their own practice.
Vince, can I just add one more comment? So, this Vince sort of alluded to the fact that it's value versus values, and value is the dollar proposition. Values is kind of the social proposition. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have to focus a little more for those type of dentists who are not practicing so much in the solo practitioner vein, is the values side of being a member. And that's what I think we have to focus in with components and with the MDA.
What kind of Vince? What kind of CE are the younger dentists that you're interacting with in your large group practices? What are they asking for? What types of things do they want?
They want everything, but implants, endo, but I think it's less about what kind of CE, how they get the CE delivered is kind of, to me, for the millennial, is a little different. They're not quite so into the formal meeting. They don't always want to come in on a Saturday. Just something I've run into. Whereas we didn't want to take time away. They want to, they don't want to take time away from their family. Maybe not as much evening sometimes. That's what I'm seeing is a little different in the CE for some of the younger dentists.
Okay. How about with communication? Like, let's consider how we communicate from the MDA to these newer generations. I know we have, the MDA app is out there. There's a lot of social media. Are we doing enough? Are we doing too much? Do we need to do anything different? Jerry, any ideas?
I was just going to say, I'm not sure that we can do. I think we should probably do more in that arena, since that the millennials and the Gen Zs, that's where they're at. That is, the first place they go for information, and that might be the second place I go as a baby boomer. So, I think that we need to really pay attention to upping that game for sure, because that is where they are. So,
Do you
whatever
think?
we can do as a organization, and I think we're moving along nicely in that area personally. But yeah, I think that's really important to that generation.
Yeah, they're all plugged in and connected,
Hmm.
and I mean that. I guess the thing that I was surprised that I saw from the ADA slides was that they want more free CE. So I mean, I know that CE brings in a pretty good chunk of money for the MDA, right, Karen? So
Yes, but we were talking about this at the office today, just to let you know, and it's like it's like, yes, we do what we do, and you don't always have to think, gosh, we need to make what we already do free. It was like, well, maybe we should do for every graduating class or for people who are 1 to 3 years out, or people who join new, a 1-day CE program, or give them a voucher for $100 to use on any CE program of their choice. So there are things that we could do that would be more targeted, or would be special things that we could do that would be free, as opposed to just making lots of things free for lots of people. So I'd like to see more thinking like that when we have the board meeting. It's like a little creativity about how you really could do some of this stuff
mhm,
without regretting it.
yeah. So getting back to the comments that were made about more and more new dentists are going into large group practices and DSOs. Um, a lot of the services. How much, Vince Lizio? How much do they need? How much do those employee dentists need as far as like services provided that the MDA currently offers? Like, do you think as far as like insurance and
I
like?
mean, I can only speak for our company, but we provide health insurance, we pay for malpractice. We actually provide our own CE, so that's why I kind of go back to the benefits side of the equation. Is the money side is going to be the hard part. It's going to be the social, the part of belonging to something greater, to being a group that's contributing to something. So there are some things, there's some advisory things that I think the FDA can provide. It's also before signing contracts, understanding what they're doing, understanding debt. So there's a lot of things that still there's a role that it can provide for services, but it is obviously less.
So one of the slides that I showed from the ADA, it talked about their values and providing care, and I saw in there also like um, like providing care to the underserved as well, and to all patient pools, and I was that seemed to be a big value that they had. How can we engage them? Because that's one thing that we really need to do. I mean, we advocate for it at the MDA, and there's some um, things that we're advocating for right now with Medicaid at the ADA level with Governor Whitmer's proposal, and some other things going on in the legislature. But how do we can we engage the millennials and the Gen Z to help with that and make them feel like the MDA is actually helping achieve that value that they have? Jerry, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a great concept and it's a great idea and it's a worthy cause. But a lot of the younger dentists, we have in Oakland County we have a young dentist group, and they're pretty active and they get together quite a bit and for social events which they like and for some CE. But the same theme keeps coming up that they're in a tough time in their professional lives where they're trying to build and they're trying to grow and they're trying to gain skills and experience and they're starting families. They have young families, and so their time, they say, is very limited and valuable, and they have to prioritize and really think long and hard. Where are they going to go? Are they going to go take a day off from their practice and volunteer? Are they going to take an evening off and take a CE program or whatever? So, I mean, these are some of their concerns that we're seeing, and they all sing the same tune. They're struggling, working hard, trying to make their practices go and make their families go and build homes and so on and so forth. Buy fancy cars, maybe. I don't know.
Thanks, Jerry. So I'm getting word that we need to move this meeting along and get to our other agenda items here. And I appreciate the discussion on this. We'll definitely continue this at the board and other meetings that we have. But definitely, it's a good topic, and it's very. We need to get on it and act on it so that we don't lose market share for sure. So next on the agenda here, we have funding for dental students at component meetings, and Dr. Sherry Newman's going to speak on that. Sherry?
All right, thank you. That was a good discussion, Vince. I enjoyed that. The MDA has received a request from the Washtenaw District to fund dental students, grad students, and residents to attend component meetings. Washtenaw has had a lot of success in recruiting new members by inviting dental students to their meetings. And after graduation, they do find that many of those new grads have remained in the area and they do become active members. The ADA used to offer grants for this purpose, but they no longer do so. So Washtenaw is requesting funding to invite 10 to 20 U of M and UDM students per meeting at a cost of approximately $350 to $700 per meeting. This would work out to be about $1,400 to $2,800 per year. The proposed recommendation would provide funding to all components who invite students to their meetings, and the request and approval process would be made through our MDA Executive Director. The 2022 financial impact would be no more than $2,500, and it would be allocated from our non-reserve fund. The program would subsequently be included in the MDA budget going forward at about $5,000 in 2023. Future budgets would be adjusted according to utilization. So needless to say, this is a great tool for recruitment. So watch for that recommendation as we move forward. And my second topic this evening is on the number of alternate delegates. The current policy for funding for the ADA House of Delegates states that the MDA Committee on Finance includes funding for the ADA annual session in the MDA budget for a delegation of 18 delegates and a minimum of 8 alternates. Well, at our April meeting of the Board of Trustees, the board approved a request from the 2022 House to fund 2 additional alternates. A recommendation has now been made to include funding in the 2023 budget to include 2 additional alternates, bringing the delegation to 18 delegates and 12 alternates. This would provide leadership development at both the state and the local levels and give members the opportunity to participate at the legislative level to enhance organized dentistry. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Sherry. I think it's super important, those 2 points that you talked about tonight, at the component level and also at the House of Delegate level, at the ADA. I mean, for getting younger people involved and into that leadership pipeline, and I think that's all very positive and goes to what we were talking about during our generative discussion. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Vince Lizio. He's going to talk about dental qual scorecards. What's a dental qual scorecard, Vince?
Oh, we all have scorecards, but I would just like to add one thing to, with our discussion for Millennials and Generation X, I would suggest, I know sometimes you don't want to hear us debating, but the purpose of this trustee forum is for you guys to kind of hear what the board's working on. And what I would encourage everyone, you have comments, you have ideas. Maybe it's difficult today, but please reach out to your trustee, reach out to the board. We want your input. We want to know as much as you can, and then suggestions. And some of the things with Millennials, try some things. I think this topic with funding the dental students is a great idea to maybe engage people and get them to meet people who are in organized dentistry. So I think that's fantastic. So one of our topic is the quality scorecards, and basically Delta Dental California did a partnership. And they sort of have a dental quality rating scale. Okay, so this is something that's come out. This is something that I think we had a report come to us from CGIA, and that basically kind of gave us some information about what North Carolina has done about it. It was so fascinating that we learned that Dr. Rosenthal is going to come to our meeting next weekend from North Carolina Dental Society, where he's going to give a presentation at the board about this rating system, how the ratings are determined, and what they did in North Carolina to kind of help kind of get the dentists to understand it, maybe improve the ratings, maybe understand it. So basically, I'm kind of excited. This is a really interesting topic. If you guys have not had a chance, the April 21 issue of the MDA Journal had a great article about AI and dentistry, and they actually mentioned this in there. And AI is something that's coming. It's going to be coming to all of us, in the future. And then, like any tool, it can be used for good or evil. Okay. And one of the things that I think this topic, nothing's being done in Michigan at this time. There's nothing happening. But what the board wants to do is we want to stay ahead of the curve. We want to stay knowledgeable, prepared. When and if these things come, how can we educate our dentists out there, and how can we get them prepared? So it's something that's very interesting. And it's, like I said, we're going to see more and more of it. It can be a good thing or a bad thing, just kind of giving us some opportunities to know what's going on. There's going to be a lot of AI that's going to actually assist practitioners in diagnosis and actually getting paid and reimbursed. And so that's something that's very exciting. And we'll see, and let's make sure that Michigan is prepared for misuse or making sure that our dentists are understanding how that works. And I don't know if we have any questions on that. But definitely read that article, MDA Journal, April 21. So the other topic that I had is the ratification or the House actions. So one of the things that's is all House action. The Board of Trustees basically is empowered, or one of the rules, one of the things we have to do is we have to act on all resolutions adopted by the House at the board meeting, to make sure whether we're going to continue to adopt them or the recommendations. And if you remember the House, we had a lot of things going on. There was things like code of ethics, some bylaws changes for limited time practice, non-dental spouse memberships, and implicit bias training. So the board is going to go through. Right now, we have this on our consent calendar. Basically, most of the House actions. So we will, debate them. We can pull them off and decide, how we're going to follow and proceed with all the recommendations that the House delegates gave us in April. So that should be about it. Any questions?
Thanks, Vince. Thanks for your report there. I appreciate the information. All good information. Next, we have Dr. Jerry Cohen going to talk on radiation machine control. And I see Kieran's been answering these questions in the Q&A, which is awesome. And I'll try and get to them as well. So, Jerry, take it away.
Okay, this is the MDA Committee on Government and Insurance Affairs, and there was a House bill in Michigan that came up in January, which would create a new license for dental assistants, mostly, who take radiographs in our offices. And this committee looked at this. MDA staff met with the representative, I guess his name is Wakeman, and expressed our concerns and our opposition, as we already train our dental assistants. Anybody who takes radiographs in the dental office is trained and has to be trained and so on, and has to pass a class and so on and so forth. And so to have an additional license would be an awful burden on these staff members in our practices, and there's just one more thing that makes the difficulty in practicing. So the committee recommended to the MDA board to oppose this, and we did vote on this in March at our March meeting, and we did pass our opposition to this proposed House bill. It's House Bill 5116. In addition to that, this House bill also would, how did they say it, would repeal the authority to use handheld X-ray devices in a dental office. We had this was passed years ago, and we've been using these machines, the ones that look like a radar gun, and now they want to repeal this for some reason. And so we're opposing this. The board opposes this, and we did pass a resolution resolved, and I'll read it, that the Michigan Dental Association opposed House Bill 5116 regarding new regulations for radiography. And this was adopted by the Board of Trustees in March at our March meeting. If anybody has any questions on this, I'd be happy to. I don't know who's reading the Q&As, but if there's anything on that before I move on to the next issue, I would be happy to answer.
No questions on.
No questions. That was a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Next. My next topic is about reinstatement of suspended health professional licensees. So the MDA Committee on Government and Insurance Affairs is recommending to the Board of Trustees to agree with this and to go along with this and to support this. This was a Senate Bill 1005, which I have to give a little background to this, because there was a situation where a licensed practitioner was erroneously reinstated. His license was reinstated by mistake. It was an error. And he was a good guy, and he practiced without any issues, without any violations, without anything for many, many years. And then, lo and behold, the state came after him and said that he practiced illegally. And so there's the Senate Bill 1005 would permit the board to retroactively reinstate the license to the date that the license was erroneously issued, if the provider has been in good standing during that period. And so we are supporting that. Our committee, the MDA Committee on Government and Insurance Affairs, recommends that we do support this. And this will be, I think, an item that we will vote on at our next board meeting. And that's what I have.
Thanks, Jerry. Any questions on that? I don't see any now, but we'll circle back if we need to later. So Karen Burgess is next on the hit parade here with an update on the strategic plan. Karen,
Thank you, Ben. I too have slides, but very few. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, just so that you have something to look at besides me while we are talking about this topic. So every meeting of the Board of Trustees, we do an informational report about where we are with the strategic plan. And it's an Excel spreadsheet that, is not too fun to look at. We also try to highlight in the presentation some of the more engaging parts of the implementation of the plan. So this is just to give you an overview of where we are with each of the 5 goals and what the current activities are. So our strategic plan update, goal 1 is our member value, and you can see here it says define and deliver exceptional member value. The strategy that had been identified was to find the lagging markets. In other words, who loves us, who doesn't love us, and then take action to try and fix the ones who don't love us. Unsurprisingly, after the discussion of the generative discussion that Vince gave, our lagging market is new dentists. The new dentists have a net promoter score of 35. Our average net promoter score for all members is 40. And if we take a look at some of our subsegments, like our retired life people or our retired dentists, we're well over 60, 65 as a net promoter score. So for people who are not familiar with net promoter score, basically it takes the percentage of your members who give you very high ratings minus the percentage of your members that give you very low ratings, and ignores the kind of people who are meh in the middle. So if you are not doing well with your members, it's perfectly possible to get a negative net promoter score. And 21 is the average score for associations. So our lagging score of 35 is still better than many. But as you can see, we have narrowed down our focus to new dentists, and we will be kicking off a lot of the action planning associated with how to fix this and how to address it at this meeting with our generative discussion. When we look at strategic plan goal 2, it has to do with engaging and deepening the relationships that we have with our members and our leaders. So at this point, we are looking at how we are going to enhance engagement through technology and develop analytics to try and develop an engagement score for each and every member. So the update is that at our last board meeting, the board funded SharpSpring, which is a communication automation technology. We're currently implementing this with a go live in August, and what it is going to give us is much, much deeper insight into the way all our members and segments of membership engage with us, particularly online. They engage with us through our emails to them, visits to the website, social media, that kind of thing. So we will be seeing and having a lot more information to help guide us in how we communicate with these membership segments, including the most digitally engaged group, which are the Millennials and the Gen Z. Our third strategic plan goal has to do with ensuring organizational sustainability. And the board was focusing primarily on awareness and utilization satisfaction with MDA products and services, including the Michigan Dental Association products and services like CE advocacy and our radiography training program, for example, as well as the products and services that come to you through the insurance and financial group. So we're in the middle of this right now. We have completed a matrix at the staff level that addresses things like alignment with mission, level of awareness, utilization figures, satisfaction, place in the life cycle. In other words, is it mature or a new product or service, and also the net revenue associated with it. So there will be a report to the board with recommendations in September. And our fourth goal is to understand and improve diversity, equity, and inclusion at all levels. And the strategy is one of collaborating with diverse organizations and launching our own committee on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So at this point in time, we are smack dab in the middle of developing a microsite and some videos about careers in dentistry. We've got guidance from the committee and input from diverse dental organizations. We expect to launch that later this summer. And it's the goal of all of this is to help spread among all communities, but especially diverse communities, the promise and benefits of considering and pursuing a career in dentistry, including dental hygiene and dental assisting. And our final strategic plan goal is to advocate effectively for the dental profession and the public's oral health. That's a two-pronged strategy to engage with legislators and stakeholders, and also to increase member communications on advocacy. We have done some great metrics in terms of engaging with legislators and stakeholders, working collaboratively with component dental societies to schedule legislative meetings at the component level, continuing our grassroots in-district meetings. And there has been, and I hope you all have noticed, a big increase in information to the membership in every issue of the journal, our e-publications, and on social media. The goal is to show a lot more of the backstory and the nuts and bolts, and not just treat it as a news article that this was passed and that was passed, but instead what it takes to actually get there and some of the facts behind the decisions that get made. So, for example, I was just asked by a member, how did we come up with our policy? Why do we support what we support when it comes to the state of Michigan's budget? And what else is being suggested besides the governor's plan? And I was able to tell that member, go to page 21 of this June journal, and it lays out the governor's plan, the Senate's plan, the House of Representatives plan, and also the MDA position. And in page 21 and 22, you'll get a lot better understanding of, the behind the scenes wrangling that goes on related to the budget. So we do plan to do a short member survey in the fall to see whether we have moved the needle at all since last year on awareness and satisfaction when it comes to advocacy. So I will stop sharing. That's just an update that the board will receive. They will get, of course, a little more detail than I'm giving tonight because I have a little more time at the board meeting than I do tonight.
Thanks for that update on the strategic plan, Karen.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So next on the agenda, we have feedback from members in your area, guests via chat. So I've had a lot of really great questions in the chat. I think most of them have been answered and responded to. A lot of great ideas. Appreciate all the feedback. We will definitely take this information to the board it will be a great help. So, are there any other questions that we didn't get to tonight that anybody has? Can put in the Q&A before we sign off here. Any other panelist
Nothing.
comments?
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Any other last minute panelist comments from our panelists? All right, I would like to thank all our panelists and Karen tonight and Michelle and all our attendees for the good discussion and input here, and appreciate all the help as your president. So I think we'll adjourn. Have a great night.